The school is the most important institution where children are taught, nurtured, molded to be productive citizens. In Kenya today, school enrollment has increased, with national statistics indicating that more than 92% of school-going children are actually in school. So our story today, though important, is not about overcrowded classrooms, long distances to schools, lack of facilities or textbooks. It is about what children get out of schooling. What is the quality of learning in our schools today? How can we gauge if our children are getting the skills and competencies they ought to be receiving? This was brought about by the realization that national examinations such as KCPE and KCSE are the single most important features informing the public on general achievement levels. They, however, come at the end of the cycle when hardly any remedies can be effected, and yet the pressure for learners to perform well is overwhelming.
Yes? In singular. In singular, what?
It is therefore time that attention shifted to capturing the actual learning competencies of children as they progress rather than wait for the end of the cycle examinations.
What they want is their children to pass exams. You can't run away from that one. Even philosophers and intellectuals who keep on philosophizing about quality, when chips are down, they want their children to succeed.
And so to find out the actual learning competencies that children have, Uwezo Kenya conducted a national assessment of children to gauge actual competencies in literacy and numeracy. The Uwezo initiative is also being conducted in Uganda and Tanzania.
The genesis of Uwezo Kenya, or actually Uwezo East Africa, began about 2 years ago. And this is when one of our lead partners in Tanzania put together a team from East Africa. And our first stop was to visit India. And in India, there is an organization called Pratham, which holds the annual status of education report, or in short, it's called ASA. And what they do is that they conduct assessments, basic assessments, in basic literacy and numeracy, across India, 600 plus districts. And this is able to give information that will tells them where they are in terms of the basic literacy and numeracy competencies of their children.
The 2009 Uwezo National Assessment was conducted in 72 districts. The development of the test and sampling framework had to adhere to the national and international standards using scientific methodology.
All the 158 districts were given what we call equal weights. They have equal right to be selected. Then what I did was to go into random sampling. Now, in the process of random sampling, that is why you find certain districts have been selected, others have not been selected.
In each district, 30 villages were sampled, and from each village, 20 households were selected to participate in the assessment. Each household, all the children between the ages of 6 and 16 were assessed in basic English and Kiswahili literacy and numeracy. In total, 600 households were sampled in each district. Each district had its unique characteristics, many of them culturally based, from those in Lagdera in northeastern province to those in Lamu at the coast, Kilgoris and Kakamega to the western part of the country, and Makueni and Machakos to eastern side, as well as Kiambu and Thika districts in central parts of the country. The district coordinators went through 2 trainings, one at the national level and the other at regional level. They then proceeded to their respective districts to recruit and train data collectors before going out in the villages to assess the children. In some parts of the country, assessing the villages was by no means an easy task. Although the data collectors were from those particular districts and villages, some encountered resistance upon entry to the households.
You know, it is an urban town. It is a cosmopolitan town, particularly those side of Githurai. And to knock somebody, it is very hard. So there may be, even myself, and I don't know my neighbor. So for you knocking to a home like that, anything can happen. So I asked the Uwezo, they did it. They gave me the village order. We talked with the chief. They are the one who are guiding there, even just like what we were doing in census. And we didn't get any problem.
However, in most homes, families were happy to participate. The data collectors were welcomed with curiosity and enthusiasm. The Uwezo assessment is household-based.
We must demystify education, okay? Anybody who knows about education knows that teachers and educationists, when they are in class, they are in total control, okay? The bells ring, the books close, the books open, you go out, you come back after 40 minutes, you do this, they write on a blackboard. Life is so regimented. So that is a school. But we know that that is being done because the assumption is that that should help you to become better outside school. So this notion of us going to the household becomes very, very important, because in the household is where I should know if actually the school has helped you or not.
The data collectors who volunteered for the exercise moved from one household to another, assessing children aged between 6 to 16 years. The assessment was based on Class 2 level work.
The sky is blue. It is a sunny day. The children are happy.
Very good.
They went to play outside.
Very good.
Ariel likes trees because they give fresh air. Trees also give shade and bring more rain.
Uko karibu kwanza wachezaji.
All plants have dried up. People do not have enough food.
This was based on the assumption that by Standard 2, children should have acquired the ground skills in numeracy and literacy.
You see, if you do not have the foundation right, then how can you build a house? So if you cannot know how to read, if you do not know how to comprehend what you're reading, if you cannot add your basic 2 plus 2s, your additions, multiplications, then how are you able to go to the higher level skills? So often we say that it's a literacy lapse. But maybe it is not a lapse. Maybe they never learned anything in the first place, and nobody had been capturing this information. And that is what the ASA methodology does. It is actually a monitoring tool in which you're able to capture our children learning what they ought to be learning at the very basic level.
But what was also unique about this assessment is that parents were also involved.
Je, wewe usungumza na mwanao kuhusu walimu na masomo? Okay.
Shida ya kwanza, shule yetu hakuna mwalimu. Mwalimu nyewe hakuna. Galasi ya 4 hapa iko hapa. Lakini galasi ya 4 kama hiko, mwalimu ni moja. Hiyo mwalimu moja haitoshi kusomesha watoto yote.
They too were assessed on their interest and participation in their children's education process.
And in most cases, we found out that only the parents who have at least gone up to Form 4 and onwards cross-check their children's books and even sit around with them and teach them here and there. But those who never went to school, or those dropouts, say Standard 8 and below, those one completely had no idea whether the kid performs better or not. No.